Welcome back to this English Learning Through story. In today's video, Grace will remember her Mount Everest base camp trek through colorful story. This story covers all the interesting activities that Grace experienced during her trek to Everest base camp. Let's get started.
The trek to Everest base camp. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of birds chirping and the sun streaming through the window. Today was the day I would begin my journey to Everest base camp. I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as I got ready. The hotel had arranged a helicopter to take me to Namche Bazaar, the gateway to Everest. After a quick breakfast, I packed my things and headed to the helipad. The helicopter was small but sturdy, and soon we were airborne, soaring above the mountains. The view from the helicopter was nothing short of spectacular. Below us, the landscape was a mix of deep valleys, rushing rivers, and terraced fields. As we flew higher, the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas came into view. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. The mountains were massive, towering above everything else, and the air was crisp and clear. I couldn't take my eyes off the view, and before I knew it, we were landing in Namche Bazaar. Namche Bazaar is a small town nestled in the mountains, with colorful houses and shops lining the narrow streets. The town is at an altitude of 3,440 meters, so I spent the first day acclimatizing to the altitude. I explored the town, visiting the local markets and meeting other trekkers who were also preparing for the journey to Everest base camp. The people were friendly and welcoming, and there was a sense of camaraderie among the trekkers. We were all here for the same reason, to experience the adventure of a lifetime. The next day, the real trek began. We set off early in the morning, with our backpacks strapped on and trekking poles in hand. The path was steep and challenging, but the scenery was breathtaking. We walked through dense pine forests, crossed swaying suspension bridges, and passed by small villages where children waved at us as we walked by. The higher we climbed, the more stunning the views became. The peaks of Everest, Lhotse, and Ama Dablam loomed in the distance, their snow-covered tops glistening in the sunlight. As we trekked, we passed by Buddhist monasteries and prayer flags fluttering in the wind. The sound of the prayer wheels spinning added to the peaceful atmosphere. The trek was physically demanding, but the beauty of the surroundings kept us going. Every turn in the path revealed a new, breathtaking view. We took breaks along the way to rest and take in the scenery. The air was thin, and every step felt like an effort, but the excitement of getting closer to Everest kept us motivated. We stayed in tea houses along the way, simple lodges that provided basic accommodation and meals. The rooms were small but clean, and the beds were a welcome sight after a long day of trekking. In the evenings, we gathered in the common area, huddled around the fire to keep warm. The food was simple but hearty, with dishes like dal bhat, a traditional meal of rice and lentils, and Sherpa stew. We shared stories with fellow trekkers and listened to tales from the guides who had climbed Everest multiple times. The sense of community in the tea houses was heartwarming, and it was a chance to rest and recharge before the next day's trek. As we continued our trek, the landscape became more rugged and barren. The trees gave way to rocky terrain, and the air grew colder. The path was steep and challenging, with loose rocks and uneven ground. But with every step, we were getting closer to our goal. The sight of the towering peaks surrounding us was both awe-inspiring and humbling. We were in the heart of the Himalayas, and the sense of adventure was palpable. Finally, after several days of trekking, we reached a point where we could see Everest base camp in the distance. The excitement was overwhelming, and we pushed on with renewed energy. The path to the base camp was rocky and uneven, but we were so close that nothing could stop us. When we finally reached Everest base camp, it was an emotional moment. I stood there, surrounded by the world's highest peaks, and felt a deep sense of accomplishment. This was the moment I had been dreaming of, and it was everything I had hoped for and more.
Now we will explain some interesting and useful phrases and words used by Grace in her journey story. We will use meaningful and colorful supporting images to explain each of them with example. It will help to understand complex words in an exciting way. But first, please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment on this video. Thank you. Let's get started.
Airborne means being in the air, like when a plane or helicopter is flying. For example, when the helicopter took off, we were airborne flying over the mountains. Small but sturdy means something that is not big, but strong and solid. For example, the small house was sturdy enough to protect us from the strong wind. Soaring means flying or going up high in the air smoothly. For example, the eagle was soaring high above the trees, looking for food. Landscape means the view of the land, including mountains, rivers, and trees. For example, the landscape was beautiful, with green hills and clear blue skies. Terraced fields mean farmlands shaped like steps on the side of a mountain. For example, we saw terraced fields on the mountains where farmers grew rice. Snow-capped peaks mean mountaintops covered with snow. For example, the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas were glowing in the sunlight. The Himalayas means a large mountain range in Asia that includes Mount Everest. For example, we traveled through the Himalayas on our way to Everest Base Camp. Altitude means the height of something, especially how high you are above sea level. For example, the high altitude made it harder to breathe as we climbed the mountain. Acclimatizing means getting used to a new place, especially a higher or colder place. For example, we spent a day acclimatizing in Namche Bazaar so we could adjust to the altitude. Sense of camaraderie means feeling close and friendly with others because you share an experience. For example, the sense of camaraderie among the trekkers grew as we hiked together. Swaying suspension bridge means a bridge that moves a little when you walk on it, hanging between two sides. For example, we carefully walked across the swaying suspension bridge over the river. Buddhist monasteries mean religious buildings where Buddhist monks live and pray. For example, we visited several Buddhist monasteries during our trek, where people prayed quietly. Physically demanding means something that is hard to do and needs a lot of strength and effort. For example, the trek was physically demanding, but we pushed through and kept going. Rugged and barren means land that is rough and has no plants or trees. For example, as we climbed higher, the landscape became rugged and barren, with only rocks around. Awe-inspiring and humbling means something so amazing that it makes you feel small and full of respect. For example, the sight of Mount Everest was awe-inspiring and humbling, making me feel lucky to be there. Palpable means a feeling or atmosphere that is so strong, you can almost feel it. For example, the excitement in the air was palpable as we neared Everest Base Camp.
Fantastic! You are on the right learning track. We're so excited to see you in our next lesson. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe and comment for more lessons like this. Until next time, happy learning and see you soon. Thank you.